Hi, it's Debbie Copeland, author Debbie Copeland, cancer survivor. As I promised, I'm going to read a chapter of my YA novel, The Kids at Latimer High 2, Spring Fever. So I decided to read a chapter with Trinny, Trinny Dawkins, aka Pink. He's actually my favorite character because Trinny is funny, awkward, silly, and I think a lot of teens can relate to Trinny because you kind of go through that ugly duckling stage, and Trinny happens to be a guy. He happens to be a boy, and another thing about Trinny is abused. Trinny is abused by his father. He gets abused by his father, physical abuse, and that happens. That happens a lot in people's lives growing up as a child. You have a father who may be an alcoholic, or a father who's just angry at the world, and he takes it out on his children. So, but Trini is resilient. He's resilient. He Basketball and pizza and his best friend Kevin, those are his coping mechanism. And you would never know when you get to know Trini that that he gets abused. But so anyway, I'm gonna read a chapter with Trini, and I hope you enjoy it. Chapter 5, Trini, Haters and Wannabes. Hafen Park was my spot. The 9.24 acre square park had a baseball field, 4 basketball courts, and was surrounded by trees that kept the players cool, especially during the summer when things got really heated on the court. After school, that was the one place where I went to play one-on-one with someone. He didn't have to be the next Kobe Bryant, but just a regular cat around the way who wanted to shoot some b-ball with me. Somehow the word had spread that I couldn't play basketball anymore since my pops had beaten me up. And now that I was out of the hospital and playing ball again, I noticed that every day a crowd of people would come down to the park and watch me play. Rumors had spread all through the Bronx that I had so many broken bones in my body that the doctors had to reconstruct me with metal parts like the $6 million man. The rumor was that my basketball playing days were over. But that was a lie. And thank God that it was, because basketball was my one ticket out of New York and out of my father's life forever. I faked this guy Rivers like it was nothing. He thought I was going to shoot from the right, dribbling the ball. I did a right hand crossover, sprung up and swished down a basket. My fans and speculators cheered behind the gate. Some were sitting down on the hard concrete, drinking soda and beer, watching me and Rivers play. Rivers was a decent player. He had more height than me, but not by much. He was about 6'3". I was a few inches under that. He was an older dude in his late 30s. Playing b-ball with me helped to keep him in shape. Rivers was just another dude from around the way that liked to shoot hoops from time to time. He knew who I was, but that didn't matter to him. He never tried any fancy moves to try to prove that he was better than me. He never asked me any questions about which college I wanted to go to, whether I was going to go in the NBA straight after high school if I got drafted, or what's the story with me and my old man. Nah, Rivers never asked me any questions. In fact, we barely spoke. We just played basketball. Of course, there were dudes like me that had game from Evander Childs High that came around to play me. Before I got hurt, I lived for the challenge. Right now, I was still healing and a little sore. I didn't want anyone to know that I felt some pain when I played basketball, especially another baller like me who wanted to beat my stats and steal my rep. So I figured I can practice at Haffen Park with the older dudes. But now everyone knew that I was out of the hospital and real ballers were spying on me to see if I still had game. And straight up, I still had game. All my skills were intact, even though it hurt sometimes when I played. The game was 21. Rivers had the ball and went up for a shot, but I sprung up and blocked it. When I did, pain shot through my left knee and traveled down to my shin. It hurt so bad that I squeezed my eyes tight. Rivers looked at me. That was game. You all right? Yeah, man. I lied. Tomorrow, Rivers tossed me the ball. Maybe, man, I said, walking off the court. As I started past all the speculators, someone stepped in front of me. You hurt. I saw you frontin', said 17-year-old Timothy Tempson, who was known as Tiny Tabs at Evander Childs High School. Tiny Tabs was barely 4'7", yet he was one of the best point guards at Evander High. Tiny Tabs, number 33, was the MVP of the Generals. He was my competition. We were always up against each other. Dude was always fouling me stupid, like he didn't know the rules of the game. I knew my skills frustrated Tiny Tabs. The Generals always lost by 3 to 6 points because of me. One more beatdown from your pops and you're done, he snickered. His two boys, Robin and Dito, came out of nowhere and closed me in. Man, get out of my face, I snapped. Tiny Tabs had one of those faces that had permanent lines on his forehead, especially when he was angry or had an attitude about something. He always looked unhappy and mean, which struck most people as strange for someone so young. Yeah, you better hope the popo keeps your pops locked up, Robert cackled. I stared at Robert Puntes. I always wondered how he made it on the team in the first place. He was tall but thin as a rail. He played center and was always missing rebounds and could never make a shot clock, even if he practiced all day long. Robert's gaunt features and hollow brown eyes made my skin crawl. He glared at me like he was the MVP of the Generals instead of his boy, Tiny Tabs. Man, one good win right now will blow your butt away. I laughed in Robert's face. He looked at his boys for help. This your last season, Pink. You're done. You'll be limping after your first game next week, Tiny Tabs snarled. Word, Dito the quiet one uttered. Don't hate, don't hate, a few of my fans yelled in my defense. As I stared at Tiny Tabs and his two wannabe Kobe Bryants of the Generals, my stomach turned to knots. Here, have a glass of haterade, someone called out in a funny, high-pitched voice. Next thing I knew, someone dangled a can of cream soda in front of Tiny Tab's face. Get that out of my face, Tiny Tabs recalled. I turned around and saw Big O's brother, Mickey, and Rivers standing by my side. Mickey had the soda in Tiny Tab's face. Go home, little boys, River told Tiny Tabs and his boys. Tiny Tabs eyeballed me, Mickey, and Rivers. He looked at Mickey and Rivers hard, sizing them up. Mickey was huge and Rivers was packing with muscles. Man, let's bounce. He got these old cats protecting him. Tiny Tabs signaled to his boys to leave. Yeah, and we old cats can show you what's new while we kicking your butt, Mickey blurted out. Ain't he Big O's brother? Someone in the crowd said. Uh-huh, a dude answered. Keep it on the court, fellas, keep it on the court. Rivers called out to Tiny Tabs, Robert, and Dito. Anytime, Pops, anytime. Tiny Tabs threw his hands in the air, challenging Rivers. Anytime. I watched as they left the park. Mickey slapped me on the back. Need a lift home? Nah, I'm straight. As I made a left on Eli Avenue, heading towards Burke, I got a strange feeling that someone was following me. The likelihood that I can get jumped by Tiny Tibbs and his Kobe Bryant wannabes crossed my mind. Fear gripped me. I wasn't scared of being in a fight, but I didn't want to get injured again. That would put me back in the hospital for sure. And that just might be the end of my career in basketball, like Tiny Tibbs had said. My father had hurt my knee, badly bruising my ACL. He kept pounding me right there in the same spot. My brain reacted, and I remember thinking, this fool's trying to ruin me for life. I grabbed him, and we got turned and twisted around, and then he went upside down on my head until my sisters, Tamia and April, jumped on his back, trying to help me. After that, everything went black. Cold air trickled through my black Nike jacket and sent chills up my spine as I tried to recover from that awful flashback. I looked over my shoulder cautiously. No one was in sight. 2 family-attached homes lay quiet on Burke Avenue. I lived way on the other side of Burke, and I had a long way to go. Perhaps I should have taken a ride with Mickey. My stomach growled, and a creepy feeling came over me. Suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a fist coming straight at me. It was Tiny Tibbs. He clipped me on my chin. I lost my balance and stumbled backwards. All I saw was Tiny Tibbs' loathsome face as I tried to regain my balance to keep from falling. Somehow, I knew that once I hit the ground, Tiny Tibbs and his boys would be all over me. "You're finished, clown!" Tiny Tibbs shouted, coming at me again. I tried desperately not to fall. Time stood still as I felt myself falling backwards and down onto the concrete. Within 2 horrible seconds, Tiny Tibbs, Robin, and Dido lunged at me. Instantly, because I knew my life depended on it, I rolled myself into a ball, gripping my left knee. Suddenly, car brakes screeched on the road. A car door slammed, and then someone started yelling. I can hear feet scuffling on the sidewalk. It was then that the punches and the kicks from Tiny Tibbs, Robin, and Dido stopped hitting my body. I sighed with relief at the sound of my enemies scattering into the distance. "Get up, Trinny, get up!" A familiar voice called out. I peered up from the ground. Mickey's round and friendly Yogi the Bear face came into focus. He pulled me up from the ground with a strong grip. I caught sight of Tiny Tibbs, Robin, and Dido fleeing down the street. I shook my head in disbelief. My worst nightmare had almost come true. If Mickey hadn't showed up, things would have been over for me. Mixed emotions stirred within me as I looked at Mickey. I felt grateful, confused, and pissed off all at once. "What the?" I screamed at the top of my lungs. Hot tears streamed down my face. Mickey grabbed me and held on to me. "It's okay, man. You're a commodity, Pink. Some people want to take you down," Mickey said. I held on to him, sobbing like a baby. What did I do to deserve this? Things were bad enough that my own father hated me, and now my rival ballers wanted to cut me down? "Why?" I said, confused. "Because you're gonna make it. That's why. You're gonna be that one kid with a winning lotto ticket, man, driving a Lamborghini, balling with Shaq Hardaway and Grant Hill," Mickey said with all the seriousness in the world. I pulled away from him, wiping my face with my sleeve. "Thanks, man. Sorry I didn't take the ride." "You know I got your back." Mickey pulled out his cell phone. "Yo, bro, where you at? Tony's place?" I looked at Mickey, listening to his conversation. He was probably talking to Big O. And all the guys, including Kevin, were at Tony's place, stuffing their faces with pizza while I almost got killed. "Man, Trinny got jumped by Tiny Tibbs and his clowns." Mickey went on. Yeah, we're on our way. I hope you enjoyed that read. That was chapter 5, Trinny, Haters, and Wannabes. The next chapter, I'm going to be reading the girls. I'm going to be reading my girls, Lauren, Roslyn, and their crazy cheerleader friends. Thank you for listening to a chapter of my book. Again, that was chapter 5. Chapter 5, POV of Trinny, Haters, and Wannabes. Thanks for listening. Bye.